in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Tout le monde est là. Tout le monde est là. Attention, je vais apparaître. Salut. Ouais, j'ai sorti mon poncho. On se les caille un peu quand même. Hein. C'est pas chaud en ce moment. Donc, faut sortir le poncho. Il y a même une capuche. J'arrive pas. Ça peut... Ah, je me suis scratché. C'est compliqué comme ça. Comment ça va? Ça va quand même. C'est bien chaud avec mon poncho. Hein. Alors, vous connaissez ce jeu Stanley? Alors, j'ai essayé la démo avant de prendre le jeu pour voir ce que ça vaut, bien sûr. Hein, faut bien essayer. Et ben, franchement, c'est kiffant. C'est kiffant comme jeu et je pense qu'on va très bien rigoler parce que je me suis dit, ça va être top de jouer à ce jeu-là. Là, franchement, on va bien rigoler. Ça vaut le coup d'œil. Donc, en tout, j'ai déjà lancé le jeu, c'est juste que je sais plus quelle heure on est. Comme écrit sur mon PC, 20h50. Et alors, il n'y a pas... Ah si, attendez. PM, ça c'est l'après-midi, ça. Donc, hop. Je peux pas écrire? Non. Bon. Ah ouais, j'aurais pu retourner en arrière. C'était plus vite. Allez, le petit 52. Aïe, yeah. Mettez. Les paramètres d'accessibilité sont accessibles depuis le menu principal. Ok. Alors, je regarde s'ils sont les pas trop bas du jeu. Oh là là, ça y est, ça commence le boulot. En plus, ultra de luxe. Ah, c'est marrant, je me vois en plusieurs écrans à droite, regardez. C'est incroyable. Attendez, je vérifie juste un petit truc si le son au niveau OBS n'est pas trop fort. Est-ce que ça va mieux comme ça? Vous entendez bien? Allez, hop, on va essayer Allez, on va rigoler. Commencer le jeu. Ok. Surtout.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
C'est l'histoire d'un homme appelé Stanley.
Stanley worked for a company in
Stanley
a big
travaillait pour
building
une entreprise
where he
installée
was
dans un grand
employee
immeuble où
number
il était employé
427.
numéro 427.
Employee number
Le travail de l'employé
427
427 était simple.
He sat at his desk
Il devait
in
s'asseoir
room
derrière son
427
ordinateur du
and
bureau
he pushed
427 et appuyer sur des touches de son
Orders
clavier.
came to him through a monitor on his desk,
Les instructions lui
telling
parvenaient.
him what buttons to
Passe pas
push,
trop vite.
how long to push them, and
Quel
in
ordre?
order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was
Et
happy.
Stanley était heureux. Il était heureux à appuyer des
And
touches
then one
comme ça
day, something
toute la
very
journée.
peculiar happened. Something that would
Un
forever
événement qui changeait
change
Stanley à
Stanley.
tout jamais.
Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk
Il
for
était
nearly
assis à
an
son
hour
bureau
when he
depuis
realized
longtemps.
that not one
Il disait que seule
single
instruction lui
order had arrived
à
on the
l'écran.
monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Il leva de sa chaise et est sorti de son bureau. Oh, il a bougé. Ça y est, il appuie plus sur des boutons. Attendez, j'allume quelque chose en plus. J'ai le même clavier quasiment. Attendez. Mes claviers sont à l'envers. Mon clavier est à l'envers. Voilà. Ça va être plus simple comme ça. Voilà. J'ai quasiment le même clavier. Bah oui, parce que j'ai eu un nouveau clavier. Et en plus, je l'ai commencé à le personnaliser. Vous voulez voir? Attendez. Style à la Nintendo. C'est un clavier mécanique, oui. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il faut que je fasse? Fermer. Ah oui, d'accord. Ouais, ça s'est pas vu sur la caméra. Oh, dommage, ça s'est pas vu mon clavier sur la caméra. Fait chier. Ah bah, je sais pas pourquoi. Bref.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Tous ses collègues
What
avaient
could it
disparu.
mean?
Mais pourquoi?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he
Stanley
had
décide
simply
de se
missed a
rendre en salle de
memo.
réunion. Et
No
peut-être
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a
Trace de ses
trace of
collègues.
his co-workers.
que vous m'avez abandonné. C'est ça son travail, cueillir des crayons? Le joueur, il va me retenir de conneries. Ah, il y a un bruit par là. Bon. Si, il en fait un bouquin. Ah, il a allumé celui-là. Numéro 1, papa. Et dad, papa. C'est marrant que je veux.
Stanley went around touching
Elle se
every
mit
little
à
thing in
toucher
the
tous
office,
les objets
but it
qu'il
didn't
trouvait
make
sur
a
son
single
téléphone.
difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Apparemment. Ah, mais c'est trop drôle! Non, sérieux, on a supprimé l'option. Vous pouvez pas sauter. Et obtenir. En fait, c'est marrant, quand je vais cliquer, ça clique. Vous entendez? Un son de clavier, c'est trop drôle. Alors. En fonction de ce que je vais faire, ça va dire un scénario. Ça va être trop drôle. Ah bah dis donc, c'est tout dégueulasse. On va voir. Mais... Une salle d'interrogatoire. C'est la réunion des 3 personnes. Attendez, il y a que quoi? Et en plus, regardez. Ils ont pensé, je crois qu'ils détestent quelqu'un parce qu'ils ont créé un petit bonhomme écrit No. Oh, dommage, je peux pas ouvrir.
When Stanley came to a set
Stanley
of two
parvient à
open
sauter
doors,
de
he
deux
entered
portes
the door on
ouvertes.
his left.
Ah non, à hauteur de deux portes ouvertes, pas de sauter. Bon, c'est bien. Ah ah, droite ou gauche? Droite ou gauche? Ah. Droite. Droite.
This was not the correct way
Ce
to
n'est
the
pas la
meeting
bonne façon
room,
de se
and
rendre à la salle
Stanley
de
knew it
réunion et
perfectly well.
Stanley
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
on irait. Ah bah d'ailleurs, tout est vide. Ils sont où? Et dans The Office? Ah, c'est la salle de ré. Ah non, c'est pas la même. Autant pour moi. Celle-là, là, ouais. Attendez, il y a un truc qui est sur l'écran que je viens de voir là. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc au-dessus là? Attendez. Je vais régler un petit paramètre. Là. Là. Mais il est où? Il y a trop de trucs. Moi j'ai un petit truc rose au-dessus de mon écran là. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? D'accord, j'ai un truc, je sais pas c'est quoi. Non, c'est pas ça, c'est pas ça, ça non plus. Ça. Plus. Non, non. C'est pas vrai, qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc? Ah, y est. On va le cacher ce truc-là, voilà. Je sais pas c'est quoi. Voilà. C'est mieux. On est ok. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ah, moi, je continue à avancer, mais ça marche pas. Une réunion pour 5 personnes. Mais apparemment, il y en a un qui n'était pas content. Il a renversé son café. Alors, hop, on continue. Encore une salle. Ah,
Yes, truly a room
une
worth
pièce
admiring.
véritablement
It had
admirable.
really been worth the detour
Finalement, ça
after
valait
all,
vraiment le
just
coup
to
de faire
spend a
le
few
tour.
moments here in this immaculate,
passer quelques instants
beautifully
dans cette pièce
constructed room. Stanley
immaculée à
simply
la je
stood
sais plus
here,
quoi.
drinking it all in.
Mais on peut pas boire. On peut pas boire.
Yes,
Really
really
la
worth
peine
it
d'être dans
being
cette
here in the
pièce.
room. A room so utterly
Une pièce tellement
captivating that
captivante.
even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
En fait, je sais pourquoi il fait des clics. Son doigt s'est transformé en clavier. Bah oui, à
At this
force
point,
d'appuyer sur les
Stanley's
touches toute la
obsession with
journée.
this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality.
Ah, je pensais
It's,
une
but at
connerie.
last, he'd had enough of the
Il
amazing
m'a fait
room
peur mon
and took
portable,
the
il se met à
first open door on
vibrer.
his left
Calmons,
to
c'est
get
où?
back to business.
Ah là-bas, notification. Toujours fermé. Monte, elle a pris cher, elle a cramé ou quoi? Elle a explosé. Et fermé. C'est ce qu'on appelle couper chic. J'aime. Alors, là-bas, on voit une chaise. Et là, une chaise en pleine face. Oh, à droite ou à gauche? Attendez. C'est quoi ici? Je rentre, je crains quelque chose?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Incapable de suivre. Il n'a pas écouté ce qu'il dit. On peut faire tout et n'importe quoi. On peut faire l'inverse qu'il dit, c'est drôle. Ah, il y avait une chaise. Vous voyez. Alors, attendez. Bon, continuez, hein. Ah, et... Apparemment, il y aura plusieurs fins dans le jeu. Ah, il y a une voiture. trop rigolo de... Pas le choix, je crois.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
Écoutez,
foot
Stanley,
here.
nous sommes peut-être
I'm
partis
not
du
your
mauvais
enemy,
pied. Je ne
really,
suis
I'm
pas
not.
votre ennemi,
I
vraiment pas.
realize that investing in
Je
your
comprends
trust in
que
someone
cela
else
puisse
can
être
be
difficile de faire
difficult,
confiance à
but the
quelqu'un.
fact is that the
Mais le fait
story
que
has
depuis
been
tout ce
about
temps,
nothing but you
cette histoire ne
all
concerne
this
que vous.
time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Quelqu'un que
Please,
s'il vous plaît,
stop
arrêtez de
trying to
prendre
make
toutes les
every
décisions
decision by
seul.
yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me,
Pour moi,
I'm
mais
asking
pour
for
elle.
her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Elle attend. Parle de qui? La femme? Ah, urgent. Employé? Je sais pas. Ah, nous sommes dans la réserve. Réserve, ok. Ah! Mais qu'est-ce que... Mais ils savent pas ce que c'est une poubelle? On se clope. Ah, c'est marrant comment ils sont faits. Ils essaient d'être en 3D, mais un 3D pas propre. C'est possible, ça? Bon, je vais dans le noir. Oula,
That's
oula.
her, Stanley.
Eh, allô?
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Oh, Stanley,
Hold
c'est
on,
toi.
please.
Désolée,
Sorry
mon
to keep you
trésor.
waiting.
Je dois te
I'm just
faire...
pulling the bread out of the
Je
oven.
sors le pas du four.
All right.
Ok, j'ai fini.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about
Your day.
Gotcha. Oh,
Oh,
come
il m'a eu.
on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
C'est quoi ce truc? Je suis obligée de rentrer?
This is a very sad story about the death
Le
of a
nom d'un
man
homme
named
appelé
Stanley.
Stanley. C'est moi. C'est moi, Stanley. On peut appuyer sur X.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow.
C'est plutôt
He has a
ennuyeux.
job that
Il a un
demands
travail
nothing of
qui ne
him,
lui
and
demande
every
rien.
button that he
À
pushes
chaque touche
is a
sur laquelle
reminder
il
of the
appuie.
inconsequential nature of his existence.
Elle?
Look at him there,
Mais qu'est-ce
pushing
qu'il fait?
buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch.
Là, il mange son
Now he's
déjeuner.
going
Là, il
home.
rentre chez lui. Là, il revient au
Now he's coming
travail.
back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that
Aucun
he's
pourrait
chosen this
se...
life.
Désolé pour... Et pour...
But in his mind,
Moi, dans sa
in his
tête,
mind, he
dans
can go
sa
on
tête, il peut vivre
fantastic
des aventures
adventures.
fantastiques.
From behind his desk,
Derrière son bureau,
Stanley
Stanley
dreamed of
rêvait
wild
d'expéditions incroyables vers
expeditions into the
l'inconnu,
unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
de découvertes
It was
merveilleuses sur le
wonderful.
nouveau territoire.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Je suis sur R pour regarder la télévision. R.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Du temps entre potes.
So he went further. He imagined that he
Il a
came to
imaginé
two
qu'il se
open
trouvait
doors and that he
devant
could
de
go through
portes.
either. At last, choice. It barely even
Bien
mattered
faire,
what
quoi.
lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Il pour lire l'histoire des enfants.
It was
Yes,
such a
c'est que ce
wonderful
bordel.
fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again,
Encore et encore,
over
sans
and over,
s'arrêter.
wishing beyond hope that it would never end. that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Ah, votre femme que vous l'aimez.
But there is no answer.
La
How
femme
could
s'est
there possibly
transformée
be?
en bureau.
In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ça devient grave, là. C'est ce qu'on dit, comme on dit. Faut savoir se déconnecter. Z pour aller vous coucher. Z. Là, j'appuie sur Z. Ah, punaise.
And I'm trying to tell him this.
C'est
That
l'inverse.
in this world he
Inversé,
can never be
clavier.
anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself.
Il se tue à petit
He
feu.
won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Il dit de pas le faire, en fait. Ah oui, allez.
You see?
Vous
Can
voyez,
he just not
ne
hear
m'entend-il
me?
pas?
How can I tell him in a
Vous
way that he'll
l'expliquez d'une manière
understand that
compréhensible
every
pour lui
second
que
he
chaque seconde qu'il
remains
passe
here,
ici,
he's electing to kill
je vais le
himself?
tuer.
How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Je suis soupé pour rien ne remettre en question.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried
Veuillez
again,
mourir.
and Stanley pushed a
No.
button. And I tried.
C'est quoi ce bordel? Qu'est-ce qui se... J'ai cru que mon jeu l'a fait planter, quoi. C'est un truc de dingue. Bah, je recommence. Ah oui.
All of his co-workers were
Tous ses
gone.
collègues avaient disparu,
What
mais
could it
pourquoi?
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
On va voir si on continue. Qu'est-ce que ça fait?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Il vient de s'enfouir dans celle de gauche. On va faire ce qu'il dit. On va aller à gauche. Allez. J'ai fait l'inverse tout à l'heure. Oh, le petit paysage. Une porte sans chiffre. Ah, des fenêtres aveuglantes.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Pas de
Feeling a
réunion.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit? Je sais même pas. Ah. C'est quoi ça? Ça c'est le calendrier. Égal. Ah. Et d'accord. Il y a un fax. Bon, on continue, hein. Ah. Ah, on peut ouvrir.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
On a poursuivi sa route. On sait jamais si je trouve un truc. Ouais, je vais prendre le
There
palais.
was nothing here.
Il
No
n'y avait
choice to
rien,
make,
rien là,
no
aucun
path
choix
to
à faire,
follow,
aucun
just
chemin
an
emprunté,
empty
juste un
broom
placard
closet.
balai vide.
No reason to still be here.
Oh, j'ai compris, j'ai compris. Oh. Il insiste, hein.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to
Mais-
his boss's office.
Il y a quoi en bas? J'ai envie de descendre, voir ce qu'il y a. Il pense que je vais monter, mais si je descends. façon, on va faire tous les choix possibles. Ça va être trop drôle. Pour le moment, on va un peu l'écouter et après, on va faire l'inverse. Moi, il y a plusieurs fins différentes. Attendez, ça s'appelle comment là? Les chiottes. Excusez-moi, je vais faire pépé. Monnaie. Monnaie, monnaie. Alors, c'est juste des toilettes. Et il n'y a rien. C'est nul. C'est maintenant que ça s'est fermé. Ah, il va peut-être dire quelque chose alors. Non, bon. C'est bien, tu vas aux toilettes et tu lis un catalogue pour les toilettes. C'est très très bien. Ça va dans le décor. Hein. Les pages jaunes. Et ça s'appelle les pages beiges. Elles sont beiges. Entre jaune et blanc. Beige. Est-ce que c'est nul ce que je viens de dire? Le téléphone. Et... Ah mais... Par là. Il y a... Ah! Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce tableau? Attendez, je veux pas y aller tout de suite. Moi qu'on va là. Cette porte est déjà ouverte, ça veut dire voilà. On va là.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Alors c'était 4.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
D'accord. Moi j'y vais. C'est bizarre comme bureau. Oh, un bouton. Qu'on descend.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
See?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escapé. Essayez. Tout droit. Mind Control Facility. On va voir ce qu'il y a par là. Il y a un bouton là-bas.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Qu'est-ce que c'est que cette étrange télé partout? Oh, oh, des claviers. Ah non. Oh, un bouton.
Now the monitors jumped to life. their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom
Ah, viré lui aussi. Il est cassé.
Oh, et dire que les collègues à moi qui sont virés, ils savent pas appuyer sur une touche, c'est pour ça.
Ah. Attends.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
L'ascenseur miracle qui me permet de monter vers mon clavier.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Et oui, je décide d'être aveugle, j'ai bien droit.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Je vais détruire les commandes qui me permettent de contrôler mes doigts.
C'est débile. Attendez, c'est où le bouton?
Des boutons partout, j'ai envie de tout appuyer. Oh, c'est quoi un contrôle? Ah non. Une porte. Ah là 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 là, mais je sais pas faire quoi d'autre comme travail à part appuyer sur une petite touche qui me dit d'appuyer là et là.
Pourquoi il y a 5 appuyés là? Attendez. Il y a une autre touche là-haut.
Oh, c'est incroyable. Et un énorme ordinateur.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Ouais, j'ai foutu la merde.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're going to die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? One soul? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Rien compris. J'ai rien compris. J'ai compris, hein? Rien. J'ai rien compris. Oh bordel, faut que je recommence ma journée. Allez.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, c'est ouvert là maintenant?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
On y va. Et porte ouverte.
Mauvais. Dans le noir.
Et on c'est immense comme entreprise, il y a même des ascenseurs. Au lieu de monter et descendre, ça va tout droit.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Oui.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Un manège de pub.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Mais on peut pas continuer l'autre? Bon, à mon avis, si, mais...
Okay, so far it's an elevator.
C'est juste un
Nothing
ascenseur,
special
rien de
here,
très
but I'm
spécial
sure
encore.
it's just the beginning of
C'est
a
le début d'une grande
mesmerizing
aventure
adventure.
palpitante. Ok. Mais...
Is it broken?
Il y a un problème,
What's
qu'est-ce qui se
going on
passe ici? On
here?
devrait aller quelque
Should
part
we-
ou bien...
Should
ouais.
we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc?
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oui, Stanley est prêt.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Ça va?
C'est fini.
Bon, bah, j'ai vidé le seau.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Ah, on peut sauter.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Uh-huh. Mhm. Mhm. Bon, je les remets. Est-ce que j'ai pas besoin de retirer le casque? Ils sont assez fins. Hello. Are you for?
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Mais qu'est-ce qu'il est? Il m'a redémarré comme ça. Non mais c'est quoi ce truc? Non, j'en ai pas de revenir. Bon. Regardez. C'est mon ancien bureau. Avant l'extension. Bon. Et bon bah je monte. C'est mes nouveaux cartes.
Stanley, come
Oui,
over
quoi?
here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Attendez. Ah, d'abord ce qu'il y a par là. C'est mon ancien bureau. Mhm. Bon bah je vais te suivre. Hein. Je vais suivre l'autre ce qu'il me dit. Ah ah. Qu'est-ce qu'il me fait l'autre? Le narrateur, c'est incroyable.
Okay, you
C'est
remember how cheap
incroyable.
and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Et on est rentré dans un autre jeu dans le jeu. Et bon, attendez. Mais une fois, on m'a dit que j'étais une daronne de 50 piges. Oh putain, celle-là, je l'oublierai jamais. J'arrive vers la lumière.
I call it the memory
C'est ça
zone.
la retraite.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences
Bonjour,
of my
Moto.
life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
On vivra ici, moto. Regarde. Bon, par contre, il faut la fibre. Sans fibre, on ne fait rien, quoi. Ça me gratte le nez.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Le auteur n'a pas l'air d'aimer l'extension. Il dit que c'est en fait que c'est de la merde. Oui. Il écrit pas zone soutien. Ainsi qu'une moto, il me répond même pas. En plus, vas-y, comment je me fais ziou, je me prends un vent, mais je rigole. Sinon, Starling. Je vais parler trop vite. Alors, c'est les photos de souvenirs de mon bureau. Qu'est-ce que j'aimais mon travail? C'est ce qui comptait le plus pour moi. Ah, je m'en foutais du reste, ouais, avec les boutons. Mon premier dollar. Ah, c'est mon premier dollar de mon boulot. Et content de le recevoir dès que j'appuie sur une touche, $1. Ah, c'était le meilleur salaire de toute ma vie. Ah non, c'est vrai.
Et puis ça, c'est mon premier CD.
Ah, la retraite. Souriez. Oh, la télé. Ah, mais c'est la démo, ça. C'est la démo. Elle était trop bien, la démo. Rien que la démo, c'était... C'est des succès, ça. Là, tu commences par l'extension. Apparemment. Mais non, mais en fait, au début, c'était normal. Mais après, il y avait une porte qui était à moitié ouverte, donc je suis rentrée. Et voilà où je suis arrivée. Votre directif, donc je suis rentrée là. Tu commences par l'extension jeu, c'est magnifique. En fait, je commence par la fin et je finis par le début. C'est parfait. Je commence, c'est parfait. Ça se trouve, je vais me faire spoiler avant même d'avoir commencé. Pas fait exprès. Il a peut-être fait un burn-out, c'est pour ça qu'on est ici.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable.
Toutes les
Like
critiques.
this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was
Skyrim.
Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A
J'espère que
lifeless
ça change
husk
rien.
with an hour of new elevator content.
J'espère que ça change rien. C'est vrai que Je savais pas que je démarrais par là. Il y avait une porte ouverte, je suis allée. Je savais pas que c'était l'extension. Après, ça avait écrit de luxe, donc là, après, j'ai deviné. Et mince, rentrer dedans. Bon, tant pis. Ça doit être le plan, ça. Ah non, ça me rappelle trop Windows 98. Vu l'ancien interface. Oh, les boutons! Je veux des boutons. Mais on pouvait sauter. Bon, ça ne peut plus. Bon, moi, comme ça, tu vois si t'as pas vu l'extension. C'est marrant quand il clique, ça fait un clic clavier.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
GameSpot.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone.
Ouais.
To spend the rest of time collecting dust
c'est une photo
in the
du soft
hallowed
3D,
hall
ouais,
of
c'est ça.
beloved video game memories.
C'est pas mal, hein. Mais en tout, ce qu'ils affichent là, c'est vrai, en fait. C'est des vraies notes des sites. C'est incroyable. GameSpot. Mais c'est vrai. Faut que je vérifie ça, parce que si c'est vraiment vrai, c'est incroyable. Là, ça devait être l'édition collector. Ah. Mais c'est incroyable ce jeu.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on.
Attendez.
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Oula. On part en terrain inconnu. Il y a un spot, il y a un problème. Il fait il bug quoi. Bon, alors.
Oh no. Oh God, no.
Oh non, mon
Stanley,
Dieu.
it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's being collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
C'est Steam, c'est incroyable. Les critiques sur Steam, ils sont dehors. Ah bah oui, ça fait beaucoup apparemment. Hein. Tout ce qu'il y a comme dossier. Oula. No recommanded. Oula, il y a quelqu'un qui n'était pas content apparemment. Hein.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is
Bien sûr,
obnoxious
détestable,
and
pas drôle.
unfunny, with his humor and dialogue
Ses
proving
interventions
to
et
be
ses
more
blagues sont plus
irritating
agaçantes
than
que
entertaining.
marrantes.
Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Peut-être trop, j'ai pris les œuvres d'art, tout ce qu'il y a de plus
I
sérieux.
suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert
Jamais
into
que
the
je pourrais
Stanley
trouver quelques
Parable, but the
bouddhas
game
à
is already
intégrer.
such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Incroyable. Mais si c'est un vrai avis négatif, en plus avec le pseudo affiché en bas, mais la personne, elle se dit, mais je suis dans le jeu en fait. Bon, franchement, ça a vérifié. Je suis curieuse. Mais on est dans Steam là. Steam, hein. C'est énorme. Mais apparemment, c'est encore une zone de construction. Oula, et c'est l'orage aussi, à l'abri. Oh là, il y a encore un... Hé, doucement, j'ai glissé. Ça m'a poussé, mais on m'a fermé la porte de cul. Oh non, encore no recommanded.
Okay, let's see what this one says.
Là.
While the idea for the
Si
game
l'idée
is good,
du jeu est bonne,
for someone who prefers
pour quelqu'un
non-linear games,
qui préfère les
this
jeux non
preachiness gets
linéaires,
annoying
ce côté
fast. Preachy?
de
Stanley,
son.
I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Incroyable. Comment il prend bordel avec les avis négatifs de Steam.
What's
Oh,
this one
encore
got
un
to
autre,
say?
attention.
You constantly have to stop
Et
doing
tout le temps
anything
arrêter ce que
so the
vous
narrator
faites pour
can
le
catch up
narrateur
with
et
his
le temps de dévaler ces
long-winded
expressions
explanations
interminables.
of what's happening. I wish there was a
J'aurais
skip
rêvé d'un
button.
bouton passé.
A skip
Un
button?
bouton passé.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews
Voilà,
of
il est
the
pas
Stanley
content, je
Parable.
crois.
That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Je crois qu'il est pas très content.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. Oh, you're back, you see.
Comment lui
You were
couper le
only
chic?
frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you?
Oh,
But
n'est-ce
that's the
pas?
power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a
Attends, je me
thoughtless
lance vers
display of
sans fin.
self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30,
Yeah,
45
30 à
minutes.
45 minutes.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know it's... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
J'ai rien fait, c'est
You've
le
just
bouton.
been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
Ah oui, elle est plus
I've
là.
looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it... Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Oh, Stanley,
You're
vous
back.
êtes revenu, vous
Oh,
êtes
goodness.
revenu.
I have someone to talk to again.
Et bienvenue à ceux qui arrivent. Franchement, c'est trop drôle, ce jeu, c'est incroyable. On est tombé sur
I've
les
been sitting
critiques
here all
négatives
that
de
time,
Steam.
just
Trop
sitting
drôle.
here, not
Ça
a
vient pas
single
plus au
person
narrateur.
to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as all?
Hop, je lui coupe encore la Il va me détester, lui couper toute la parole.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome.
Il va bien avoir une porte qui va
time to
apparaître,
think
force.
about you and about us and about
Nous, à
everything
nous,
we've been through.
tout ce
I've
que nous avons
had so
traversé, j'ai
much
tellement de
time.
temps. Oh, regardez, la plante a fané. À force de passer le temps, il n'y a plus d'herbe. Plus de feuilles. Ah, apparemment, le narrateur, il fait la grève, il boude. Il parle plus. On va avancer, hein, peut-être qu'il dort. Oh là, c'est quoi ce bruit? Oh non. Ah, active-toi le bouton. Ça fait mal aux oreilles. Ah, et pour ceux qui regardent aussi.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain.
Bon, il est en train de se plaindre, on va le laisser un peu. Il n'y a toujours pas de porte. Mais c'est quand qu'on peut sortir d'ici? On peut courir. Ah, par contre, il y a une échelle. Ah, on peut pas passer par le conduit d'aération. Ah non, ça marche pas.
The the end, is never the end,
Fin,
is
jamais,
never
fin,
the end,
jamais.
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end,
Je suis en train de rendre fou le narrateur.
is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Il a fait un burn-out. Par contre, il y a de l'eau qui coule. Oh, regardez, il y a de l'eau qui coule maintenant. Il est rendu fou le narrateur. On va continuer. On va tout casser maintenant. Ah bah bravo. Et bienvenue à ceux qui arrivent. On est en train de rendre fou le narrateur. Ah. Ah. Alors, il n'y a pas de porte. Ah, c'est peut-être ça. Faut avancer pour tout péter. Et après, il n'y aura plus rien, peut-être. Alors. Mais le narrateur, il fait... Salut, petite sœur. Comment ça va? Hein? De l'herbe? De l'extérieur? Je sais pas comment je peux me rattraper avec ce que je veux dire. Ah, maintenant c'est de la terre, c'est de la terre. C'est de la... Il n'y a plus rien. C'est quand que je peux sortir d'ici? J'en ai marre de ce passage. Ça y est, on est dans Fallout, c'est ça? Ah, c'est vite le temps, il y a un truc bizarre. Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Ah non, on est un peu de travers. Ah, ça y est, une porte. Enfin, un mur. Mais où on est maintenant? Ah oui, je m'amuse franchement. Dans le jeu, à un moment, il y avait des commentaires négatifs de Steam. Le narrateur est devenu fou. Par contre, là, je sais pas du tout où il faut que j'aille, mais je vais continuer. Alors, je vais dans l'inconnu. Mais alors, je sais pas du tout où je vais. Désertique, hein, complètement, là. C'est complètement désertique. Ah, c'est plus désertique. C'est la page de patiente. Il faut patienter. Je suis revenue au début. On est revenu dans le jeu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting
Et donc, dans le jeu, en
Perhaps he had
fait,
simply missed a
on
memo.
retourne à zéro, comme ça, à nouveau, on sort du bureau. En fait, on est un employé, son but, toute la journée, c'est appuyer sur une touche. Tu dois appuyer sur là, il appuie là. Tu dois appuyer ça, tu dois appuyer ça. Voilà. Et là, il est sorti de son bureau, il n'y a plus personne. Et t'as un narrateur, il faut que tu l'écoutes. Et parfois, tu peux faire sens inverse. Et il se passe des trucs étranges, ou parfois, c'est drôle. Et là, je suis allée dans l'extension, sans savoir, j'étais dans l'extension. Ah, ça y est. Maintenant, ils ont écrit en gros. New.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
Et,
doors,
regarde, il décida
he
de
entered the door on
s'engouffrer
his
dans la
left.
selle de gauche. On va aller à droite. On va aller à droite. Là où tout commence, ouais. On est ça fait au moins 4 fois que je suis là, avec que des fins différentes. On va à droite. Allez, on va à droite. On va à droite.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
C'est pas
Perhaps
vraiment
he wanted
conscient.
to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ok, alors qu'est-ce qui va m'arriver
Wow.
cette fois? La table de détente.
Yes, this room. What
Bon,
a beautiful
j'avance parce
room.
que, hein.
But eager to get back to business,
Ça, on a
Stanley
déjà
took
fait
the
tout à
first
l'heure.
open door on his
Alors
left.
j'ai été tout droit, il était pas content. Donc on va aller gauche.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Ah ah. On va où? À gauche, à droite? Allez, on va où? Ça peut être drôle. Droite, toute. À droite? Ok, on va à droite. Et après, quand je vais à un sens, ça ferme derrière moi. Je peux pas retourner en arrière, mais à mon avis, on va recommencer. Là. Bon. Je suis où maintenant?
Yet there was not a single
c'est la salle de
person here
réunion.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Et donc, je sais pas si t'as entendu, mais quand j'appuie avec ma souris pour valider quelque chose, bah, c'est un son de clavier.
Coming to a
Pareil, il dit,
staircase,
faut gravir,
Stanley
donc faut
walked
monter,
upstairs
mais on
to
peut
his
descendre.
boss's office.
On va faire l'inverse qu'il dit là, ça va être drôle. Enfin, tout à l'heure, j'ai quand même fait tout exploser le bâtiment. J'avais oublié ce qu'il m'avait dit. Allez, on descend en bas, on va voir ce qu'il y a. Oh, il y a une lettre, on peut pas lire? Ah non. Bon. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a
But
par là?
Stanley just couldn't do it.
Mais
He
Stanley ne
considered
pouvait
the
pas faire ça.
possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Ah oui,
Why
c'est
did
vrai.
doors
On n'a
close
pas de pied.
automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back.
J'ai fait un burn-out visuel.
Let me wake
Oh,
up,
mon rire.
he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
Incroyable.
I am okay.
Ah oui, il est devenu complètement dingue là. Ah, ça y est, je suis réveillée.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Il est devenu
This
cinglé.
is the story of a woman named Mariella.
L'histoire d'une femme qui s'appelait Mariella.
Mariella woke
Je
up
suis
on a day
Stanley.
like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man
Le
who
corps
had
d'un
stumbled
homme
through
qui avait
town
déambulé
talking
à
and
travers la
screaming
ville.
to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what
Je suis
crazy
mort
people
comme ça.
look like.
J'ai
And in
tourné
that
en
moment,
rond.
she thought to herself
Je
how
suis
lucky she
mourue.
was to be normal.
Comme
I
ça.
am sane. I am
C'est quoi
in
ce
control
truc?
of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
D'accord. En fait, j'étais dehors et je tournais en rond et je me suis épuisée sur le trottoir. Bon, bah voilà, encore, on va recommencer une autre journée. Allez, on
All of his
recommence.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
C'est trop drôle.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bon, alors ça, on sait que c'est le nouveau truc. On va continuer.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his
À moins
left.
qu'on fait droite et on fait gauche et on prend l'ascenseur. On l'a pas fait ça. On va faire ça.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Ça va être drôle.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire
Il y a
it.
tellement de trucs de
The
différents.
lounge was sublime, a
Mais il y en
work
a
of art.
combien des fins
But
différentes?
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
À gauche.
And
Hop.
so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Voilà. Je fous la merde. J'écoute pas.
But Stanley didn't want to go back
Mais
to the
Stanley ne voulait pas
office.
retourner
He
au
wanted to
bureau.
wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
À gauche. D'accord.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
C'est sur la droite. Ah bon. Bon, on va à droite alors.
No,
Mais-
no, not the right.
Pas
Why
la
would
droite.
I have ever said it was to
Je veux
the
dire que
right?
c'était à
What
droite.
was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you
Je
hold
peux
on for
pas
a
le porte dans la
minute, please?
tronche. Il est en train de dire
Now, let's
l'astuce.
see, we went down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ah. Ok. Je vais pas me faire écraser par une voiture. C'est bon. Ouais, chaque... C'est vraiment ça. C'est vraiment drôle comme jeu. Hein. Franchement, là... Ah, on est revenu ici.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet.
Mais
This
vous
is all
trouvez
a
là, pas
spoiler.
encore. Ça va tout
Quick, Stanley,
gâcher.
close your eyes.
Fermez les yeux, Stanley, vite.
Okay. We just
Juste
have to get back
que je
to
retourne à...
Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Qu'est-ce que... Il était pas content, je suis arrivée là trop vite. Il
All
m'a
of
fait
his
recommencer le
co-workers
jeu
were
encore une
gone.
fois.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Oh, bordel.
Perhaps he had simply missed
Je
a
sais pas, ça va
memo.
être ça en répétition. Ses collègues avaient disparu. Ah, tu... Il faut...
When Stanley...
Attendez.
Wait, what? No, No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh.
19,
Everything
20
should be...
et 24
Oh,
fins
did something
supplémentaires.
change?
Supplémentaires. Je sais
Stanley,
plus parler.
did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the
Trouver
story.
l'histoire. Hein? Quelle porte? Allez, quelle porte on prend alors? Il y a la... Bon bah celle-là on peut pas. On va dire 1, 2, 3, on a beaucoup fait. 4, 5. Je peux pas lancer un petit... Ah bah non, je suis pas encore affilié, sinon j'aurais lancé un petit truc de vote, ça aurait été drôle. Votre avis, quelle porte je prends? Ha ha ha!
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this.
J'ai l'impression que c'est ça, c'est la même. Ouais, mais qu'est-ce que c'est que ce truc encore?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'était une longue à se dessiner, alors je vais la revenir en arrière, en début. Bon, merci.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Il n'y a plus de porte. Je passe où? À travers? Je retourne en arrière? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Bon bah je vais retourner en arrière alors. Même le début change. Faut que je retourne au début, c'est ça?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Je savais que
The
l'histoire,
story.
la voilà.
Here it comes.
Oh!
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Il faudrait savoir où tu veux que j'aille. Tu veux faire tourner là-bas et après il n'y a plus rien. Il fait vraiment... Où on est maintenant?
Now this... Well, I'll be
Alors,
honest, I
là,
don't recognize
alors
this
ça, pour
place
être
at all.
honnête, je ne
Is this
connais
the
pas du
story?
tout.
I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Attendez.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Donc en tout, il y a 42 fins différentes. On est à combien? On a combien de fins différentes là? Je
All
sais même
right,
plus.
I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Sûr que je suis en route, il m'a fait une ligne jaune. Oh, je vois un solitaire. Bon.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, Are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct?
Je suis comme ça, il est content.
That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to
Voilà,
apologize.
hop, ça c'est
Sure
fait,
where I
ça
was
c'est
going
fait.
with all that.
Ça c'est un point
You know what?
d'interrogation.
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Ça. Musique. C'est le petit tour de manège.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
C'était bien. Où il est dans la musique? Bon bah, zip.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Bah, c'est toi qui as tracé la ligne, hein.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
On va démarrer. J'en peux plus de son arrête. Allez, on recommence.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
Je crois que je tourne en rond, là.
Use your imagination.
Je tourne en rond.
Whatever it might be, Stanley,
Ah, allez.
I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again.
Oh non, encore
Stanley,
toi.
I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms.
Mais je peux
Just
pas
don't
grimper au
acknowledge it,
plafond,
and you should be
moi.
fine.
Trop drôle. Miaou. Oh yeah. Bon bref, on va arrêter parce que sinon on va avoir mal de mer. Enfin, le mal de... Mal, quoi.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision.
Ah, un choix.
From here, the story is in
Maintenant,
our
nous avons le contrôle de
How
l'histoire.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has
Oh,
to
bah,
lead
j'en ai
somewhere,
honte.
which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here.
Ça me fait
And
faire
that
n'importe
in
quoi en plus.
turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Bon, bah, en fait, c'est la porte de droite. Bon, on va aller à droite. J'avais joué la fin troublante pendant.
Hold up, what's
Pendant...
this? Hmm.
Je suis en train de le faire, en fait.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall.
Quand tu l'as, l'a fait.
Who
Au bout d'un
consulted
long moment,
me?
Stanley meurt.
Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Venir dans un autre bâtiment. Le narrateur relance le jeu
I
sans
don't
le
want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped.
Ah,
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we
nous
break the
avons
cycle?
réussi. On a brisé le cycle.
Whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
C'était quoi ça? Allez, rebelote. On est à combien là? Quelqu'un a marqué.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started. And if
il y
it
a autre
did, it
chose.
stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Ah oui, on entend la pluie. Oh, c'est agréable la pluie pour dormir. Oh, j'adore. Je peux pas ouvrir d'autres portes. Je suis en train de tourner en rond là. Ah non. Donc apparemment, sinon le DLC est plus cher. Oh bordel. 42.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Celle de gauche. Allez. On va suivre ce qu'il dit. De toute façon, je suis là
Yet
depuis
there
au
was
début,
not a
mais je
single person here
me suis
either.
loupé après.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Le balai. Là, on va
Coming
monter.
to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Et... Alors j'étais à gauche, mais j'avoue que j'ai pas été à droite. Ah. Qu'est-ce qu'elle part là? Oula, d'accord. Ah, des boutons. Ah, ascenseur. On va aller voir ce qu'il y a là-bas. Qu'est-ce qu'il est long cet ascenseur? On ne descend pas. On continue à descendre jusqu'à combien d'étages? Ça en finit pas. J'ai le temps de m'endormir jusqu'à que ça s'arrête. Et dire que je sais pas chanter. Oh yeah, oh yeah. commencer. Ah. Bon bah, on est revenu. Je sais pas comment. Ah.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of
commence par un
any human
8.
life. What could it mean?
8, 2, 4,
Stanley
5.
wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret pin number.
Ultra confidentiel.
2845.
Merde.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have
Et là
known
le
this.
2. Pourquoi je veux voir 2 en bas moi?
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Et on redescend encore d'un ascenseur. Et il remonte longtemps. Allez, il est arrivé. Encore cassé. C'est pas grave, de toute façon, on va sûrement revenir
Stanley
comme
walked straight
d'habitude.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Marche à droite vers la grande porte. Ah, j'avoue que j'ai été tout droit. On peut aller peut-être à gauche. On va aller à gauche. Escaper.
Although this passageway had the word escape
Et
written
sur
on
ce
it, the
couloir,
truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
il va y avoir une mort violente au bout de ce passage. Allez, chiche.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and
Elle
get
pour
back on
encore faire
track.
demi-tour.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious,
Je
concerted
tous
effort to walk
conscience de
forward
poursuivre sa
and
route
willingly confront
et d'aller
his death.
au-devant de la mort. Et c'est quoi ça? Ah ah! Allez, je veux voir ce que c'est. Wouhou! Allez, je suis sûr que je retourne au début. Ah non! Oula! Oh, mais je
As
suis
the
où?
machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his
Non,
demise,
je
he
vais
reflected
écraser.
that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
Ah non! Je veux
Stanley
pas qu'il me
can't see
crève,
the
moi!
bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Ah oui, c'est bien discret. Oh non! Pitié, j'ai rien fait pour lui.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was
Ah, ça
obliterated
cassé.
as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
J'étais pas placé par une crêpe. Vous m'avez pas eu. Je suis toujours libre, toujours vivante.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Ah, cette deuxième vie auquel
When
je suis pas
every
morte, je
path you
travaillerai
can
encore
walk
plus sur
has
les
been
touches.
created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
Attends,
Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
attends, je suis morte ou je suis pas morte? Plan du bureau. Est-ce que c'est encore cet endroit? Ce jeu est incroyable. Vous voyez? Solitaire. En train de s'installer. Bon. À droite, à gauche. Ah. Non, mais c'est le truc de développeur, ça. Et ça, c'est... Oh, c'est quoi ils ont fait le jeu? Les plans. Incroyable. C'est l'horloge. Attendez, on est dans un musée, là. Tiens, j'entends des bruits bizarres.
Stanley pushed the big red button.
Scène coupée du narration. C'est comme le crédit du jeu, quoi. Sauf que t'es dans le musée, au lieu de voir un truc défiler, bah t'es dedans. J'avoue que ce jeu est dingue. Fin de la liberté. Ah bon? Un peu de temps. Pour sortir, je vais appuyer. Bureau du compte à rebours. Mort. Là. Ah bah non. Bah si ça sert à quelque chose. Il y a un truc là-bas.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
C'est fait.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save those two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
On a entendu le cltch. Bon bah, mouru. Définitif. Et on recommence encore notre journée qui commence à 11h20. 11h20.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Allez,
simply lost a memo.
ras-balade. Allez, on recommence. Après, on fera un peu ça. Ça peut être pas mal.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
C'est dingue, il y a toujours un truc. Toujours un truc différent. Il y a toujours quelque chose.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ouais, on va avancer un peu plus vite pour voir l'autre suite quand même.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Oh oui, t'inquiète pas une seconde pour parler.
Quand je l'ai vu que je le sais, bordel.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
C'est pour que je sois plus tranquille un peu. Oh, petite musique. J'y crois pas. Le jeu, il reconnaît qu'on va aller trop vite. C'est fou, ça. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ah, mais c'est... J'y crois pas. J'étais en train de me dire, c'est dans le jeu, qu'est-ce que j'ai fait? C'est le son d'alerte, ah bah ça fonctionne bien. Je les ai bien mis. Nickel.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ça c'est le but, hein, c'est pour faire peur, alors ça fonctionne bien.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
C'est dingue, j'ai bien fait mes réglages quand même, je suis contente.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an
certains sont
employee in the
virés.
building, Stanley's co-workers.
Ouais.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally
Non,
monitored in
bien
this
placé le
place
son
where
d'alerte, hein.
freedom
Franchement bien
meant
placé.
nothing.
Hein. J'ai cru que c'était vraiment dans le jeu, quoi. J'ai flippé.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under
Moi, tu
someone's
vois un bouton, tu
control all
cliques.
this time? Was this the only reason
Oh,
he was
génial,
happy
ça
with his
fonctionne,
boring
alors.
job?
Cool.
That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Ah non, mais t'as vu,
It was
j'ai mis à peu
unthinkable.
près ce qu'il faut pour
Wasn't
s'amuser
it?
en plein live.
Was
Hein.
it even possible?
Même pour que les gens
Had he
s'amusent. Hein.
truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Je vois plus rien, je suis aveuglé. Aïe, aïe. Ah,
Here was the
tiens, son
proof,
cas, j'ai tout fait
the heart
péter.
of the operation.
Ah, quel souvenir.
Controls labeled with
Ça m'appelle
emotions,
Mégaton.
happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its
Alors.
terrible power over another
J'ai mis
human
on, je vais
life.
mettre off. J'ai mis on, j'ai fait tout péter, j'ai pas compris ce qu'il fallait faire après.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes,
Oh là.
he had won. He
Qu'est-ce qui se
had
passe?
defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected
petite
on
chaise.
how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's
Le
grasp?
ciel.
What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing.
On se croirait dans une salle de
Stanley stepped
cinéma.
through the open door.
Allez, allez. Sauf qu'on passe pas de travers.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Ah, Stanley, il est heureux. Il a arrêté d'appuyer sur un bouton. Ah, terminé le jeu. J'ai eu le succès. Ah. D'accord. Et ça, c'est vraiment la vraie fin. On se refait encore une petite tournée. On va avoir d'autres fins du DLC, ça peut être drôle. Allez.
All of his
Donc, on
co-workers
y
were
est.
gone.
Pour le moment, je suis en
What could
pleine
it
forme.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Faut pas que
Perhaps
tu
he had
stresses.
simply missed a memo.
Une bouteille d'eau dans le coin. Revenu. Désolée, j'ai soif. Ah, alors. New. Bah, on va aller par là.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Je le président à vous montrer. Oh, une nouveauté. Allons, on y va. Ok. On y va.
You see,
Allez.
Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, le 2. Des bureaux tout neufs, à la moderne,
Yes, you see,
les
isn't
jaunes
this far
moutarde.
superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Ah. Allez, on va découvrir cet endroit. Investor Showcase. Ah,
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so
une
much
nouvelle machine
catchier
à
than
boisson.
Ultra Deluxe,
Ils ont
don't you
changé
think?
aussi.
Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Oh, on voit à travers une maison. Et il y a autre chose. Tout là-haut, là, mais je vois pas trop c'est quoi. C'est trop bien, on a un nouveau bureau. Oh, avec des télés comme ça. Alors, ah, ouvrir. Ah, il y avait d'autres styles. Le 3, il est pas mal. Cinq aussi, hein, franchement, ils sont tous sympas. Là, ils ont choisi. C'est le premier, quoi. Ah. Deux Stanley.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Ah, c'est des émissions de télé. Attendez, moi aussi je le masse. Oh, ils ont un bus à l'intérieur. Ah, ça me rappelle un peu un parc d'attractions. Vous voyez lequel que je veux parler. Alors, on monte, on monte. Wouah. C'est à la Poppy Playtime. Je m'en souviens d'une grande salle ronde comme ça. Imaginez qu'au fait...
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
C'est très grand. Oh, il y a... Mais... Au lieu d'écrire merci avec les merchus. Merch. marche. Oui, le QR code, il marche vraiment. Ne faites surtout pas ça. Oh, que j'ai que ça? C'est moi? Il est devenu une célébrité, c'est incroyable, je m'y attendais pas. Alors ça, il écrit quoi? Saut de réconfort de... Mais pas... Du corps sur le bureau, trou sans fond. Ah ah! Alors, je sais plus ce qu'il a dit, le narrateur. J'hésite entre aller à gauche ou à droite. Il écrit quoi? New name. Ah, le trou sans fond, il est là-bas. Boutique. Ah, ça...
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Ah, faut appuyer là-bas. Name?
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have a role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Reculer ou pas? Juste par curiosité. Non, j'ai pas le choix d'appuyer sur le bouton.
Jim. Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Ah, bah c'était marrant d'appuyer sur le bouton Jim. C'est lui qui en plus qui a dit qu'il fallait faire. Jim. Qui s'appelle Jim. Attention, Jim. Oh, il y a un de différent.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Oh, c'est moi là-bas, Stanley. Attention, ah oui, c'est vrai. Jim. Paramètres champion du monde de trou sans fond, c'est gratuit. Je sais pas où aller, franchement. Paramètres. Et bon, de toute façon, c'est fermé. Bon, bah. C'est fermé. Le trou sans fond est là-bas. Ouais, c'est vrai que j'avais vidé le seau. Alors. Ouais, c'est ce que je vois, il y a beaucoup de salles à explorer. Please, pas de photos.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration. like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Sunday
Donc,
and
bon
Happy
rétablissement et
12th
joyeux
birthday.
anniversaire.
Which would you go with?
Bon rétablissement, joyeux anniversaire. Pourquoi il hésite entre ces deux ballons? Allez, bon rétablissement.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Juste pour voir ce que ça fait.
Or
Ok.
actually, maybe I should have gone with...
Je suis
No,
revenu là.
no, I've
D'accord.
made my decision, we're moving on.
J'avais vu une salle par là. Ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va faire le devant et après on fera le derrière. On fera le derrière. Et on va là-bas.
A common complaint of the Stanley
Une plainte
Parable
qui est
was
revenue
that it
souvent
was
au sujet
confusing
de...
and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Mais c'est juste un saut. Attendez, je le bien. Juste le truc. Mon portable il arrêtait pas de vibrer, il me disait plus de batterie, plus de batterie. Mon sang, c'est magnifique!
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ah, mais je fais quoi avec le saut maintenant? Parce que moi je peux pas rentrer dedans, hein. Allez, attends, je fais comment?
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't.
Alors, on va explorer notre salle. Alors, il y a le trou sans fond. On va aller là-bas. Mais on peut pas lâcher ce saut. On est obligé de le garder avec nous. D'accord. Fini. Ça c'est le trou sans fond. C'est pour vraiment nous expliquer qu'est-ce qu'est un trou sans fond. Voilà, ça c'est un trou sans fond. Voilà, c'est on va jusque on ne sait pas où. Voilà, et là c'est pareil, c'est le petit point au milieu, c'est un trou sans fond apparemment. Et ça c'est pour expliquer en plusieurs dimensions ce que c'est un trou sans fond. Enfin en relief quoi. Et ça c'est un trou noir, sans fond.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever.
En dessous de laquelle vous tombez une chute sans fin.
You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Marc, ça peut marquer la tête de lâcher chaud. Alors, chaud, le saut. Attention, 1, 2, 3, yippee! Je rentre dans le monde de Alice au pays des merveilles ou du cauchemar, peu importe.
One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back
Attendez,
up to
peut-être
the
le saut
top,
peut
and we
amortir
can
ma chute.
continue onward.
Appuyer sur le jeu pour revenir en...
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button.
C'est quoi
to
si
go
j'appuie
back
pas?
to the
Parce que
top.
le saut il commence à
Maybe do it
être...
on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Je suis curieux de savoir jusqu'où ça va. Même si normalement c'est un truc sans fond, mais le son il est
I don't know
différent.
quite how to say this tactfully, but it's
Vous le dire,
possible
mais
that I
il est
slightly
impossible que j'ai un peu exagéré concernant la nature infinie du trou.
Is it a very,
C'est un
very
trou
deep
très
hole?
très
To be
profond,
certain.
absolument. C'est un trou
It's an
extrêmement
extremely
profond.
deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is
Car
it
il est...
infinite?
Est-ce
Well,
infini?
that sort of depends
Ben,
on your
ça dépend de la
definition of
définition de
infinity.
l'infinition.
From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole.
Mon saut
You
a amorti
found
la
out,
chute.
Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just
comment on fait
put
pour
all
tourner en
this
arrière
behind
maintenant?
us and agree to just call the hole
Quasi sans
mostly
sans fond.
infinite? If
Quasi
that
sans
works for
fond.
you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we
Appuie
can
sur le
move
bouton
on.
de
I'll
téléportation.
just be up here when you're ready. Great. Now,
Voilà.
I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Je voulais voir si c'était vraiment fond parce que on entendait le son quand même qui était différent. Plus on descendait, je me suis dit non, il doit y avoir un fond, c'est pas possible. Avait raison. Alors, quelle salle on va explorer maintenant? On va continuer. Hein. Alors là, Free New Easy. Getty. Ils disent aller par là, ça doit être des succès gratuits. Et là, j'ai le truc avec collection. Bon, on va aller là.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
J'obtiens un succès gratos.
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Débloque-moi ça. Bon, bah, ça ne sert à rien. Oui, il y a une porte. Ah non, comme d'habitude. Mais on peut pas lâcher ce saut. On veut plus de ce saut. On veut pas. Me balader partout, hein, ce saut, c'est pas possible, il va me suivre partout. Hein.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Apparemment celui-là, avec moi en grand. D'ailleurs, il ressemble beaucoup à un personnage Disney. Il travaille dans un restaurant. Ratatouille. Bon, yep.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Qu'est-ce qu'il faut que je fasse? Il faut que j'avance? Oh bah, on va avancer. Hein. D'accord, on collectionne des trucs, mais il n'y a pas de récompense. Ça ne sert strictement à rien. Par contre, c'est bizarre comme endroit. En plus, j'ai mon seau. Ah, mais c'est peut-être tous les collègues. Excusez-moi. Je vous l'échange avec mon seau. D'accord. 1 sur 6. Ok.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything
Ah,
in
la
a video
carte.
game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely
Je suis
tragic.
ici. Là où il y a la map. Il y a écrit. This map. Attendez, il faut que j'aille où là? Après c'est bon parce que... je vois pas où faut que j'aille. Exit? Non? Ah non, c'est par là. Et puis je pense qu'après on va s'arrêter, on va continuer plus tard hein, pour faire les autres fins, ça peut être
All
trop
right.
drôle.
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
À la suite, je pense que ça sera pour une autre soirée. Mais je sais pas si ça sauvegarde d'ailleurs.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
Ouais, bah
I
apparemment,
give
on
you
n'a pas le choix.
the Stanley Parable 2.
C'est tout.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
Ouais,
sort of...
potentiel.
Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Oula.
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Ah. Quoi? Attendez, c'est vraiment le paramètre du jeu? Ah, c'est le paramètre du jeu, c'est un truc de dingue. Ah, génial. Et si je fais retour au bureau, ça me retient au bureau ou c'est le nouveau jeu là? De dingue. Bon, sur ce, je pense que je vais vous laisser. On va quand même cliquer sur commencer le jeu, voir où ça nous donne. Mais je pense que... Ouais, c'est ça. Sur ce, en tout cas, c'était un plaisir d'être tous ensemble ce soir. Hein. C'était assez drôle, marrant. Et on va essayer de faire d'autres fins parce qu'au final... le jeu de base plus DLC, il y a 42 fins différents. Donc ça fait beaucoup. Donc je pense que la prochaine fois, on va essayer de compter combien qu'on en fait différents. Et ça peut être sympa, je pense. Sur ce, je vais vous laisser. Et je vous dis bonne petite soirée. Ah, j'ai pas de maquillage. Ah, c'est pas grave. Allez, ciao ciao.